Welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Hello, friends. How are you doing this early morning? It's a brilliant morning, very, very brilliant morning. I woke up with a lot of energy, and we are here at exactly 11 a.m. Like I said, we shall be having daily live shows at 11 a.m., at 3 p.m., 7 p.m., and 9 p.m. So make sure you're tuned in always and always and always for those live shows. A lot of transfer news to talk about, especially with the likes of Arsenal being linked with players to try to, I don't know, better our squad. I don't know. I don't know what the right word is. Are we trying to better our squad? Because I think we need to change our squad. We don't need to better it, but we need to upgrade. But we're gonna talk about so many things, especially the likes of Moussa Dembele. Linked with Arsenal, another striker that has been linked with Arsenal almost for two consecutive transfer windows. You remember last summer, we were linked with Moussa Dembele with the fact that Lacazette looked set to go. Atletico Madrid was interested in Lacazette, as well as Juventus, and the possible replacement there was Moussa Dembele from Lyon. I'm gonna go deep inside his story, and we shall get to know it. There are also reports that Real Madrid has realized that Martin Odegaard signing for Arsenal on loan was a big mistake. They cannot let it happen again. We're gonna talk about that, and I think it comes at the right time, in my opinion. If you're not going to let a player stay, if you're not going to let a player, go on another loan deal, you'd rather tell the team earlier enough. I think it's a brilliant move by Real Madrid. So we're gonna talk about Martin Odegaard, Moussa Dembele. We're also going to talk about a ridiculous 1-year contract by Arsenal to Alexander Lacazette. For me, it really doesn't make sense. I mean, if you're brought in a new football director who is in charge of contracts and is going to give a 29-year-old 1-year contract who has had the peak of his season, probably one of his best seasons in the last 5 years, I thought we would sell Lacazette and bring in a younger striker. We're going to talk about that as well. And there is also a publicity stand being publicized by Arsenal, that players want to be assured before they sign that Mikel will stay as their manager. Now, this is, for me, in my case, I don't think this is true. I think this is Arsenal trying to con fans so that they do not actually push for Mikel Arteta out. So we're gonna discuss a lot of things in this video. Make sure you hit the like button. That's a favor I'm asking for. Make sure you've subscribed. That is for your own good, because the first 50,000 subscribers will be the first priority of Kosi. From that day we hit 50,000 until the end of this channel, or until the end of this. So make sure you're part of the first 50,000 subscribers. It will help you to get the content you want. So let us get into it. I hope you guys are gonna tell me what you think about Moussa Dembele to Arsenal and Alexander Lacazette, because apparently he comes in as a replacement to Alexander Lacazette, who has had a very brilliant season. And this is where things are going to become a little bit awkward, because Lacazette has had a very good season. Do you sell him at this point in time and bring in Moussa Dembele for 25 million pounds? It's a big question there. There's a big question there. But there's also an issue we have with Atletico Madrid, and I'm also going to talk about it. So let us get into the article from football.london this time. Let me look at the author. Is it Kainak? It is Johnny Bonnell. It's not Kainak. I thought it was either Chris Whitley or Kai Kainak, but it is Johnny Bonnell. And it says Arsenal are reportedly keeping an eye on Lyon striker Moussa Dembele ahead of what could be a busy summer at the Emirates Stadium, with Mikel Arteta ready to revamp his squad following a dismal 2020-2021 Premier League campaign. A new striker looks like it could be on the agenda. The Daily Telegraph report that Lyon frontman Dembele is that man. The 24-year-old impressed for the League One side last time, netting 20 goals in 42 appearances in all competition, including a brace in their Champions League victory over Manchester City. Dembele started slowly this season, though with just one goal in 16 League One outings, and was shipped out on loan to Atletico Madrid in January, where he has made 6 appearances. He is everything you need to. Here is everything you need to know about a possible switch to Arsenal. Price tag and the Atletico Madrid issue. They're saying that the report from the Telegraph claimed Dembele, who hugely impressed in Scotland for Celtic before his move to Lyon, could be available for around £25 million this summer. There is, however, a sticking point, Arsenal know all too well, with Lyon president Jean-Michel Aulas notoriously difficult to negotiate with, as Gunners found out last summer with House Semowa. Another potential issue for Arsenal is that current club loan club Atletico Madrid are said to have an option to buy Dembele for around £30 million. However, having struggled with fitness issues since his arrival, it is up in the air as to whether the La Liga outfit look to make a permanent move. So, Moussa Dembele, of course, that is. Thank you so much, Football Dolanan, and thank you so much to the man himself, Johnny Bonnell. He's given us such a beautiful insight in this story and transfer. I think he has made it a little bit easier for us to understand. So, all you need to know in a simple language, Arsenal are looking at Moussa Dembele. £25 million, that is the fee, that's the region. 25 to 30 million pounds, that's the region in which we could find ourselves paying for the services of the striker. French international, he's been at Celtic and performed brilliantly well. He's been at Lyon last season and scored 20 goals in 42 appearances. I think it was his first season at Lyon, if you people still remember, first season, and I think it was brilliant. He was brilliant. This season, he has struggled in the League One. He has struggled with Atletico Madrid in Spain. I don't know why Lyon apparently let him go to Atletico Madrid. Atletico have an option to buy, and we shall talk about that in a minute. But it didn't make sense if for me, Lyon letting one of their best goal scorers go out to Atletico Madrid on loan this season. Because for Atletico Madrid, it is very understandable. They needed that kind of striker to strengthen their league. They needed that kind of striker, to strengthen their forward line. They are chasing a title, so that's pretty understandable. But for Lyon, who looked a little bit ambitious this season, their ambitions were even more than finishing. More than finishing third. I thought they would be looking to keep their squad a little bit intact, but they let him go out on loan. But in Arsenal perspective, and I'm going to kick in the Alexander Lacazette deal right now so that we can actually look at the two in tandem and try to make some sense about it. Then I'll either disagree or agree with Moussa Dembele signing for Arsenal at this point in time. With the price, with the prize money, with the price attached to the player and the transfer and everything. There are reports that Alexander Lacazette is set to sign a 1-year deal at Arsenal, a 1-year extension. In the summer, this lad's contract will be left with 1 year. He's 29 years of age. Let us say roughly he has entered his 30s, so he's 30 years of age, and in the summer his contract will have 1 year left. Now, what Arsenal are planning to do is to give Alexander Lacazette a 1-year deal. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This is the same old Arsenal doing things the way we've been doing things, arrogantly and poorly. That's it. Absolutely ridiculous. There is no way you're telling me you're giving Alexander Lacazette a 1-year contract to stay at Arsenal. That means in the next summer, you're going to have to sell him for much more less than you could get this season. And, of course, first and foremost, the player that has had fluctuating results. a player that has had fluctuating performances at the club. So we don't know whether next season Lacazette is going to be good enough. We don't know whether it's going to flop again. But even if even if he becomes a star next season, what do you do then? Do you add him another year, another 1 year? That's a joke. I think what we should do with Alexander Lacazette, in my opinion, objectively, he's been good this season. If Arsenal want to keep him, give him a 3-year deal, give him a 2-year deal. That only makes sense. Because if you give him a 2-year deal, that means he will be left with 3 years left on his contract. Next summer, if you want to, if you want to cash in on him, you're gonna get some decent amount of money. But if you add him 1 year and then you extend his contract by 1 year, that means he has 2 years left on his contract. It won't make a lot of sense. It won't make a lot of sense for me. Literally, it means that in the coming summer, he will have 1 year left on his contract, and we shall go back to the same position where we are in a very awkward negotiating position. So I don't get it. I really don't get it. But with Moussa Dembele kicking in, of course, we are linked with a couple of other strikers like Patson Daka, like the likes of Ocean Edward, and I'll do a transfer video about Arsenal and the striking position. But we are linked. We are lucky to be linked with a player like Moussa Dembele. I think he's a prolific goal scorer. He can get you the goals. There's no question about that. He can get you the goals. He's been one of those strikers that have been developing slowly but surely. He's gathered a couple of not a couple, but he's gathered some fame around his name. I think one of the things I love about him, and one of the things we've got to agree with Moussa Dembele, he is a prolific finisher who just needs guidance to be good. We've seen him at Celtic. He's proven. We've seen him at Lyon. He's proven. This season, things have not gone so well for him. And I think that's the reason as why his market value has dropped from almost £40 million to £25 million. Last summer, I think he was around 35 to 40 million pounds, but his valuation has dropped by almost 10 million because of his ridiculous season. I don't know what really happened with him. According to reports, he's having a lot of fitness issues with Atletico Madrid in Spain. Probably that's the reason as why he has not delivered this season. But he's a very good goal scorer, very good, and I would take him an Arsenal as an Alexander Lacazette replacement. It only makes sense if Arsenal decided to sell Lacazette at this point in time. He has had a very good season, which is okay. That means you can sell him, you can negotiate some good money. He has 1 year left on his contract, unless Arsenal are telling us that they want to make him sign a new contract and then sell him in the next, in the same summer. Like extend his contract to have 2 years left on his contract, and then sell him in the same summer, which something I don't see happening. I don't see that happening. But I'm not totally against Alexander Lacazette getting a new deal at Arsenal. I want you people to get me right. I'm not totally against it, because I know with Arsenal right now, we have so many priority areas. We have so many areas to sign players into. Now the moment that Odegaard wants to leave, now the moment that we need a right back and a left back. I'm not really against the fact that Arsenal could give Lacazette a new deal. I'm not really against it 100%. What I'm saying is, do not give him a 1 year deal. Don't give him such a very short. It's a contract that doesn't make a lot of sense in my case. It doesn't make a lot of sense. If you give a player like Lacazette a 1 year deal, what is that supposed to mean? Honestly, if we are objective enough, what is that supposed to mean? Lacazette, 1 year deal? What are you trying to achieve by that? Because by the time he still has some time. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. By the time he's 33, that will be 4 years from now. 4 good years from now. So if Arsenal want to keep Alexander Lacazette, in my opinion, give him a 2 year deal, give him a 3 year deal to keep him at the club, so that if you want to sell him in the future, you are in a better negotiating position, not the process, but position. If you give him a 1 year deal and then he shines, and then clubs come singing for him, and you're in that awkward you're in that awkward position, it's gonna leave and you're going to get pennies. So I don't see if Alexander Lacazette stays at the club and signs a 1 year deal as an extension, there will not be difference between the sporting directors we have had in the past and the new sporting director that has just signed in this new position at Arsenal. So I don't see that. I don't see that as a good deal. Arsenal giving Lacazette a 1 year deal, a 1 year contract. It won't make sense. But considering the fact that Arsenal can sell Alexander Lacazette in this summer, makes a lot of sense. Like I said, there's a striker that has engaged in 17 goals and 3 assists this season. That means he has directly engaged himself in himself in 20 goals at the club. That makes sense. That really makes some sense. 20 goals in all competition. Whoever wants him, the likes of Juventus and Atletico Madrid, whoever wants him, bring 35 million pounds, bring 30 million pounds. We bought him at 45. Of course, he's been at the club for some time now. I think around 4 years, or 4 good years. So you can't expect to make a lot of profit from Alexander Lacazette at the moment. A player who has not been performing at top level. So if someone gives us 30 million pounds, I'll take it. Go and buy, go and buy Moussa Dembele at Lyon for 25 million pounds, because the Moussa Dembele deal is a little bit tricky, but a doable one. Very tricky, but doable. First and foremost, like I said, last summer Lyon didn't sell players. That's the first thing. And this season, it looks like most of their players have dropped in valuation. I do not know why. I actually don't understand why many Lyon players have actually dropped in valuation, because if you look at the latest reports, you can see how Semowa dropping from 50 million pounds to around 30 million pounds. That is as per Lee Equip. He says they said that the player could be available for as low as 30 million pounds. And if you look at Lyon this season, they've not been so poor. They're third in the season. They're third. Actually, they're fourth on the table. They're just 3 points of PSG. PSG is second. They're 6 points away from winning the title. I mean, I don't know why their players have fallen in valuation to this level. I don't know whether they're trying to attract clubs to buy their players, but I think Lyon have been brilliant this season. 73 points. Lille, who are leading the table, are 79 points. They're just 3 points clear. It looks like PSG, if PSG work harder, they can win the league. But I'm not here to talk about the French league. I'm here to talk about Lyon. It will be very interesting to see how Jean-Michel Aulas handles this deal. Does he retain Moussa Dembele and sell the likes of Semowa? Is he going to sell Memphis? Because I think they're going to lose Memphis Depay on a free deal. They put themselves in a very awkward situation. Last summer, they could get some good money in Memphis Depay from Barcelona. They could also get some good money in Semowa from Arsenal or the likes of Juventus, because a couple of clubs were interested. We were not the only clubs interested in Semowa. But for me, it's going to be very interesting to see how Jean-Michel Aulas handles the Moussa Dembele deal. Not only with the fact of Arsenal, but with the likes of Atletico Madrid and the likes of other clubs that will be interested in buying the player. But he's a player you will take at Arsenal, because first and foremost, we need to understand the problem Arsenal has this season: creating chances, but also finishing them off. That has been a very big question. Why don't we finish off our chances? And for me, it's quite clear. You need a player, you need a striker who's a little bit more clinical. I don't mean Aubameyang is not clinical, but you've seen him this season. There's no way any Arsenal fan is going to say we can't go for a new striker. We need a new striker. I mean, our strikers have been poor this season. They've been absolutely very, very poor. Very, very poor. So in my own case, in my case, I think Arsenal need a new striker if Alexander Lacazette leaves. That's the big deal. If Alexander Lacazette decides to leave, we're getting a new striker. Absolutely, that's it. We're getting a new striker. Life moves on. So, the Alexander Lacazette deal, I mean, 1 year deal, that one I do not agree. Absolutely, I'm against it. There is no way you're telling me Arsenal is going to sign Lacazette up on a contract extension of just 1 year. Leave it. Don't do it. I mean, just don't do it. Leave him. Let him go on a free transfer, probably. I mean, it won't make sense. It would be so ridiculous. But anyway, that's the situation with Moussa Dembele. Arsenal apparently will have to pay £25 million to get the player. Would you take him at Arsenal? So that's the big question. Do you take him? Do you not take him? I mean, the striking situation at Arsenal is more interesting because they're more prolific strikers we've been linked with at even a very cheap price. Think about the likes of Oli Watkins. Think about the likes of Otson Edward. Think about the likes of Patson Daka. So we've been linked with more and more players, and you think Arsenal could do those deals? I think Otson Edward would be a very interesting deal to do. He's been in form at Celtic. He has already confirmed with the club he wants to go. The club are also willing to sell him. So there is no way, I mean, if Arsenal went in for that deal, for that deal of Moussa Dembele, no one would blame us. No one would ever blame Arsenal for doing such a deal. So in my case, what I think is Arsenal should go for a striker if we must. If we sell Alexander Lacazette, I would recommend Dembele and Osman and Odson Edward. Those are the two players I would recommend. Dembele and Otson Edward. I don't know much about Patson Daka, and I think Aston Villa will not want to sell Ole Watkins in this summer. So probably we need to go for more realistic targets. I think Otson Edward is a realistic target, around £15 million, 15, 17, because his contract is about to expire. So you rather do an Otson Edward deal and save some money. Probably to buy a left back or a right back. It makes some sense. So Dembele linked to Arsenal. If there are any more reports, I'll be trying to feed you with whatever happens. But that is all we know. Arsenal are looking at Moussa Dembele as a new striker. Yes, I understand we need a striker. We need someone who's a little bit younger on that striking line. But our striking force is not a priority. I think if you look at the reinforcement we need at the moment, the striking department is not an area you would be crumbling about. I don't think Arsenal is so desperate to get in a striker unless Alexander Lacazette leaves. But the moment we confirm that Lacazette will stay at the club, then we can deal with the striking situation in the next summer. Probably then we shall have confirmed that Lacazette will be leaving or will be staying, and then we shall see how Aubameyang performs this season. The moment Aubameyang fails to perform this coming season, we need a new striker. But at the moment, I don't think Arsenal is desperate to get in a striker. Otherwise, we have even better options in Otson Edward and Patson Daka, and it really makes some sense. Anyway, I have a couple of more stories to talk about, and the first one is the fact that Arsenal has been reported to be going to be signing younger players. There's a lot of noise in my room, so that's why I'm shouting. Arsenal is reported to be going for younger players, probably from the age of 18 to around 26. So that's a report that has come out. The Arsenal wants to change its transfer policy. Arsenal wants to change its transfer strategy from signing the likes of 27, 28-year-old players to 24, 22, 18, 21-year-old players. And for me, it absolutely makes sense. Absolutely, it makes sense. Now, let's talk about this honestly. Arsenal been doing signings that at times do not even make sense. I think we need a transfer policy review before we talk about bringing in new players, before we talk about getting in, you know, getting in new players that are very expensive or that are an upgrade, I think we need to review our transfer policy. There is no way you're signing the likes of Willian and giving them 3 years. There is no way. Those are deals that we shouldn't do. Or realistically, we shouldn't do Willian deals. We should have done. We should have signed Willian 4 years ago, 5 years ago, probably if you wanted to sign him, or 6 years or 8 years ago. You don't sign Willian. You don't sign the likes of David Louis. However much I think Louis has added, something to that back line, but you don't sign that age. I mean, the transfer policy at this football club has always been rotten. And the reason as to why you're hearing these rumors that Arsenal wants to change its transfer policy, probably, I think, it's because of the new sporting director. So, and I absolutely agree, we need to start signing younger players, building a project to come, building a project for the years to come. Right now we have we have a very exciting age group of players, the likes of Gabriel Magalhaes at defense, in 22 years of age, the likes of Kieran Tierney, I think he's 23. I'm not well versed about Kieran Tierney's age, by the way. It's a shame, but Tierney is another young player. You have the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, Saka. All those are very young players, and it's a project that is moving on. A big project. You just need to fit in some elements of experience, like Thomas Partey, who is 27 years of age. Fit in the likes of probably Granit Xhaka, who is 30 years of age. Aubameyang, who is 30. But if you're going into the transfer market, if you're going to sign in players, you need to sign in younger players. You need to bring in players that have that prudence, that angle, that look for the future. We need to look at players in a future prism. I don't see any reason as to why we sign 30-year-olds, 32-year-olds. They are not taking us anywhere. Willian signed for us last summer when he was 32. Now he's 33. Next season is going to be 34. Season over. But what has Willian done at the club? He's at very, very huge wages. I mean, he's apparently earning around 220k per week. So we need to review the transfer policy. Especially in terms of the age, who comes in, at this football club, and how old are they? That is the first thing you need to you need to talk about. So there's that report that Arsenal is going to start signing in younger players, and I think it makes sense. It really makes sense. I don't want to see Lacazette being replaced by Mario Mandzukic, because that's what we've been doing. We go out there and sign Shen Long, or we go out there and sign a 30-year-old striker. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense for me. So we need to go back to the drawing board, sign in younger players that have a vision, build a project, because that's what big clubs do. To behave like a big club, you've got to build a project. We have young players; they need the experience, but you don't overload the squad with old players. It won't make sense at the moment. It really won't make sense. But anyway, that story is there, and I'm really glad that Arsenal is looking at it. I'm very glad that Arsenal is looking at signing in younger players. Of course, we got it. We did see that we are also interested in younger players from South America, in the likes of Brazil and so on. And you could understand, because those could be even cheaper deals. But the transfer policy needs to change. We need to stop signing in very old players. However much they're bargains, no. They're cheaper deals, we can't do. And, I wouldn't mind a player like Hakan Çalhanoğlu because he's 27 years of age. I wouldn't mind a player like Nabil Fekir. He's 28 years of age. Those are players. When a player is 28, they have more 5 years. Even at 30, players have a resale value. You've seen the likes of Eden Hazard. But when you sign a player at 30, at 32, they don't have a resale value. They no longer have a resale value. So I think that's something that we shall actually, correct, because we have a new sporting director. Now, there is a very important story here that I want us to talk about, and it is Martin Odegaard. Apparently, Real Madrid have said it was a very big mistake for them to let Martin Odegaard go out on loan to Arsenal in January. What a ridiculous statement. What a ridiculous, I mean, it's so ridiculous, isn't it? Disgusting. I'm disgusted by their hypocrisy. Very disgusted. First and foremost, they were not giving the player time. That's the first thing. They were not giving him playing time. So they should be grateful. I mean, I don't see how it was a mistake. How was it? They had the player for a whole season. He had performed well at Real Sociedad last season. They didn't give him a chance. Arsenal come in to give their own player a playing chance to expose his talents, and then reports come out and saying Real Madrid realized they made an absolute mistake to let Martin Odegaard go out on loan. It won't make sense. It doesn't make sense for me. It's hypocrisy of the highest order. They're out of their minds. But there is something I look at the Martin Odegaard deal. First and foremost, his recent performances have not been absolutely good. They've been a little bit in the middle. I mean, I can't judge him as a poor player. You know how much I rate him. He's one of the best number 10s the world has right now. He's a very, very talented guy. But he's not all there is in football. If Real Madrid are saying they're taking him back, because I know all this publicity and all this news they're saying is for the fact that they want him back. They want to take him back. So I'm not surprised that Real Madrid are saying, you know what, we want our player back. We are taking him. I'm not surprised. Like I said, he's a very important talent. Real Madrid, they were never going to let him go without a fight. I only thought the reason they would let him go is if they want to sign Kylian Mbappe or Erling Haaland. So if they wanted to sign any of those, probably they would need some money. They will need some. They need to sell some players. But at the moment when Real Madrid's squad is aging, the likes of Toni Kroos are aging. The likes of Luka Modric are becoming oldies. You need young blood. You need young blood. Eden Hazard has not proven himself worthy at the club. So I think, just a moment. I think they need young blood. I mean that's realistic. They need young blood. They need to sign in some younger players, and they need to retain their young talent. I think if you ask me, they have my opinion about Real Madrid. They have these younger players that are coming up. And they also have that middle, that average age of players that I think is quite exciting. If Odegaard doesn't stay at the club, I'll be disappointed. I'll be hurt. But there is nothing we could do. We can get in Emi Buendia. The good thing is it's not going to happen like we have taken a lot of time trying to sign him. No. Right now, before the end of the season, we know he's not going to be a part of us next season. What we need to do is realize our deficiency, go out in the market and purchase a very good playmaker. I think we can get Emi Buendia at £30 million or £35 million. You can try to get Nabil Fekir and see if you can try play as a number 10. I prefer him as a number 8, but you can get Nabil Fekir. Probably can try continue on loan. Whoever comes in, as long as we get that creative player. I don't want Arsenal next season to struggle with creativity. That's the word. This season we have struggled a lot with trying to create chances, failing to score. We have 2 shots on target for 2 shots on target per game. Not good enough. That's the word. And I think our press has been very, very poor. So I want to disagree with many Arsenal fans who've been telling me that Martin Odegaard is not meant for the Premier League. That is not true. Odegaard is a very good player. I think he fits the Premier League. He fits everywhere. We just need to give him time and give him the right players to surround him. But honestly, if you're not going to retain him, I have no issues with it. That's it. No issues with it. No bad blood. We can let him go. So I'm gonna look at some of your comments and see what you people are saying in the comments. No, I know many of you. Because Dembele is a perfect striker, a goal puncher. If only Arsenal could sign him, he'll help greatly. I do not disagree, bro. I do not disagree. I think one of the young strikers in Europe right now. If you're talking about the best 10, I think Haaland is there. I think you're talking about. I mean, I'd go for Rashford. I'd go for the likes of Moussa Dembele, Ousmane Dembele, Patson Daka. So he's there. He's a very good goal scorer, by the way. I don't think Arsenal is getting him because he's cheap or he has failed. He's a very good goal scorer. So if we go for Moussa Dembele, I won't be disappointed. I'm telling you for facts. I won't be disappointed. I think he's a good striker. Very, very good striker. Arsenal FC only talk on of transfer, but can't pay. But look, the frustration is there. I mean, the frustration has always been there, and we are being promised a very big summer. So probably we should be excited, shouldn't we? You should be excited. But I understand the frustration, James. Stella says, "Hi, Kosi, how are you today? I myself like Dembele. He's he is good. Yeah, very good as a striker. I mean, a striker that can get you 18, 20 goals in a season. I think that's Dembele. And for me, that's all we need. We just need a striker who can bang in 20 goals a season. That's all we need. We don't need we don't need heroes that are gonna score 50 goals. I mean, we have hardly had that at Arsenal. So I think Dembele suits Arsenal perfectly. Did you see Arsenal release a new away kit? Let me try. They have not released. Have they released the new away kit? I've just seen leaks, and I can try to share with you around there. Let me just get into my. Let me try to get into my XSplit viewer and try to show you the new kit. So this is the new kit I've seen. Hopefully this is what you're talking about. There you go. Okay. That's the new kit, and I mean the new away kit. Honestly, let me tell you something. I'll buy it. I mean, they have already made the scarves. You just look behind Gabby Martinelli. They have made the scarves look like, but it's not. I mean, I don't like it as a person. I really don't like it. It looks like they are trying to bring back the yellow. The yellow. But this time the yellow really doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's not so good. I don't know why Adidas are making this look ugly. But anyway, I've seen the new. I've seen the away kit. If you have not seen it before, that is how it looks like. Yeah, that's how it looks like. What's wrong with football? With this football club, linked with a lot of players but signs none. What is Kroenke? What is Kroenke doing there? He should go. We are tired of the same drama. I think at some point in time, and I'm saying this strongly, at some point in time, things will change at Arsenal. Either Kroenke will leave or he will invest. So let's wait for what will happen first. Kosi, what about this academy player by the name of Miguel Aziz? I think he needs game time. Aziz is not a striker. Miguel Aziz is a midfielder. That boy has confidence. That boy is very, very confident. Very, very confident. I think I agree with you, Ogoya, Eric. I think it's high time Arsenal started giving these young lads some playing time. It's high time we try to give them some playing time. But it's a very good player, very, very good player. Make sure you've hit the like button, people. Make sure you subscribe and don't miss this show. It's always gonna be happening at 11 a.m. Make sure you don't miss it. So Aziz should get some playing time, but he's still a young lad. I know, he's a talent. I've always looked at the likes of Joe Willock, the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, and when I look at him, I think he can get that success over Emil Smith-Rowe. Aziz is a very big prospect, very big prospect. Trust me. Okay, Stella says, I myself, I like Dembele. He's good, but as well, as we all know, Arsenal, he is good in talking too much during transfers. They talk too much, more than working. At the moment, no deal has happened, and I cannot actually defend the club when you people say that. Try signing Haaland. This is Rafi Sin. I know you're a Manchester United fan, and that's why you're saying that. I don't think Arsenal need Haaland at the moment. I don't think we need Haaland. I mean, he would literally take all the transfer funds we would use in to correct our team. So no club doesn't need Haaland. I mean, we need Haaland. Every club needs Haaland, but I think at the moment you can't do a ridiculous transfer of Erling Haaland. There is no way. There's no way. And I would absolutely be against it. The way Arsenal do transfer business is like fooling their fans, because sometimes I get angry and disappointed on how Arsenal does transfer business, and that's what I've been saying, that probably we also need to review our transfer policy. We need to review our transfer policy. I mean, at times we are doing deals just for the sake. We need to agree. The likes of Socrates Papastapolis, those deals. What are you doing? The likes of Sid Kolasinac, you know, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. Just kidding. Arsenal need a player like Bruno who can mobilize other players and motivate them. You need a talisman. I think one of the players I've always talked about at Arsenal to sign is that kind of quality. And I think I've talked about players like Yuri Telemans at Leicester City. I've talked about that quite of players. I think it would work absolutely well. Create a link. Let's discuss Arsenal. Okay. Um, Tell me if it's true Kamavinga is coming at Arsenal. Kosi, this is Steve. I don't know. I mean, that story has happened. I reported about the story only once, I think twice, because we did a reaction of his skills. I don't think Kamavinga is going to be an easy deal to do, but Arsenal is very, very much interested in the player. So we wait to see. At the moment, nothing has progressed. May I know possibility of signing Jack Grealish? Okay, this is Robert Booney. Now, Grealish is another player that has been linked to the Arsenal, but the chances are so low. First and foremost, his price tag is over the top, very expensive. So I don't see Arsenal. I don't see Arsenal go for Jack Grealish. I mean, it would be a good deal. We need a player like Jack Grealish because Grealish has leadership. Grealish has so many things in him as a player, a lot of things. But realistically, Arsenal paying an 80 million price for Jack Grealish, it's not going to happen. So the possibility is very, very low, unless there is something, unless it's a miracle. But if we are going with the current business model Arsenal has been operating, Grealish is out of options. Did you see the new away cannon shot? Isn't that the one I've been showing you? Unless I've not seen it. I've not seen it. I'll try to check the internet for all the new kits. Hello, bro. I like your analysis. Big up, Stefan, and good morning as well. Jack Grealish is a perfect match for Arsenal. I think honestly, Grealish would play for any side in the Premier League right now. He plays at Liverpool. He plays at City. He plays at United. He plays at Chelsea. He plays at Arsenal, obviously. But the money, if it was last summer, because last summer I think he would have cost us around 28 million pounds, or 30 or 40. But at this point in time, last summer he signed a new contract. He's renewed his contract again. I don't see Arsenal do that deal. I mean, it would be a good deal. Don't get me wrong. It would be a very, very good deal. But I don't see Arsenal go for Jack Grealish. He's expensive, very expensive. So you either go. And for me to go for Grealish, who's 80 million pounds, get me an Emi Buendia for 40 million pounds, and get me another 40 million pounds midfielder, probably in Bissouma. So you get Bissouma for 40 million pounds, you get Jack Grealish, I mean, you get Buendia for 40 million pounds, that's 80 million pounds. So there is no way. I mean, realistically, we don't need to go for Grealish. Realistically, for money. Ronaldo, the GOAT. I'm a Messi man, bro. And big up to all the people who like Messi. If you like Messi, hit the like button. If you like Ronaldo, hit the like button as well. Arsenal need a better manager than Arteta. Nagelsmann would be perfect. I've talked about it before. I've talked about Julian Nagelsmann before. I thought he would be a very perfect manager for Manchester United if they sacked Solskjaer, and I think he would be a good manager for Arsenal. But he's gonna, he's going to Bayern. He's going to Bayern, and I think Nagelsmann can't join Arsenal at the moment, even if he didn't have a commitment with Bayern. I think he's looking at Arsenal as a downgrade in his career. You've been at Leipzig, you've been challenging with Bayern toe to toe with that quality of players. What Nagelsmann needs to do is to go to a club like Bayern, get the money, get the players, and do his thing, achieve his thing. So there's no way Julian Nagelsmann is gonna settle for a club like Arsenal. No way. But he would have been good. But I've recommended managers like Bielsa. I've recommended managers like Bielsa. Honestly, to give a manager like Mikel Arteta players, I would give a new manager, and then I bring in a new manager, and then give him new signings. That would be my opinion. Xavi, how about Xavi? Xavi doesn't have any experience. I wouldn't sack at it and bring in Xavi. No, not really. I wouldn't go for Xavi. I need someone who has the experience in working with a low budget. One thing we have to know is that these new managers, these young managers, they will need the money because they don't have the experience. So what you need to do is getting a person like Marcel Bielsa. I also think Brendan Rodgers is decent, and we can we are in that position where we can run a budget for. We can run a budget for Brendan Rodgers. We can run his budget. So I think I would go. I would go for Brendan. I would go for Brendan Rodgers. Brendan. Oh, okay. Lam says hello. How are you doing, Lam? I hope you're doing well. But the truth is, we need a new manager. We need a new manager. Bielsa for me would be the perfect man. Honestly, Bielsa would be the perfect man. There was a whisper that Arsenal is lining up for Rafa Benitez if Arteta fails before January. I've been linked with so many. Allegri, Sarri, Benitez. We've been linked with so many. So you really can't determine who is who. But I pray we get in a good manager. I just pray we get in a good manager. Okay. Actually, talking about the manager, there's a rumor that many Arsenal players are refusing to sign new deals without the assurance that Mikel Arteta will stay at the club. If you, of course, if you look, if you're talking about players that need new contracts, the likes of Kieran Tierney, the likes of Emil Smith Rowe, reports saying that these players will not sign a new contract if Mikel Arteta is not manager. Well, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't think Mikel Arteta lost the dressing room. I think he has the dressing room. There've been a couple of issues here and there, but I think he still has the dressing room on his side, and he's a little bit lucky to have them. But to tell me that players will not sign new contracts because they need an assurance that Arteta will stay as manager, it looks like Arsenal is trying to con the fans. It looks like they're trying to blackmail the fans. That's it. They want us to believe the players are 100% Mikel Arteta in. They also want us to be 100% Mikel Arteta in. I think that's the word. They're trying to blackmail the fans. But anyway, that story is there, and you never know. I relate Arsenal with attacking style of football instilled by Wenger. Tiki-taka, 1-2-1-2s, the Santi Cazorla's dribbling. I can't imagine Rafa leading Arsenal at the Emirates. For me, the best managers to take on this club would be Marcelo Bielsa and Brendan Rodgers. Rodgers has shown us that since he was at Swansea, he was brilliant. When he was at Liverpool, he was brilliant. He's that manager that loves passing the ball, and eventually he scores eventually his team doesn't concede a lot of goals. So for me, Brendan Rodgers would be a perfect manager. Perfect, just perfect for Arsenal. The problem is Arsenal never looks at those risks. Take that risk. Go for Brendan Rodgers. Because for me, Brendan is, if you look at the squad, he's working with at Leicester City. You just need to give him an upgrade from Didi to Partey, from Vardy to Aubameyang, from Kasper Schmeichel to Leno. Those are all upgrades. You can sign him some players for him. His kind of players. I think Brandon would be a very, very nice manager. Very nice manager for Arsenal. Very nice manager. But Arsenal never goes for those deals. We never go for them. We are always going for deals that actually cost less money. Whenever a deal costs less money, that's the deal we want to do, and it's always been a problem with Arsenal. That's always been the problem. But anyway, guys, so far that is all we know. Moussa Dembele, Arsenal interested. There's big interest. I'll come back and we shall speak about more of Arsenal and the transfers at exactly 3 p.m. So I'll be back here at 3 p.m. As we discuss more Arsenal news. A lot of things to discuss. But Leicester City has a better project at the moment. Yeah, I understand. Leicester have a better project, but to beat the Leicester, for Arsenal to beat the Leicester City project, we are not far away. If you look at the kind of strikers we are better than them. If you look at the midfield we have, they are a little bit ahead of us in terms of midfield. They have Maddison, Yuri Telemans, Needy. They are a little bit ahead of us, but I think 1 or 2 summers we can catch up with Leicester City. Just that. And for me, that shows me how Arsenal has fallen. You can't tell me that a club like Arsenal, you're not competing with the likes of Leicester City at the moment. At the moment, really. For experience or premiership and stabilize the team, I think Rafa Benitez is the man, and he's a winner. He's a winner. We've seen him. He's a winner. So I mean, if you sign him, you're not concerned of winning trophies. He's a winner, isn't he? Thank you so much for tuning in, and we shall speak to you. I will speak to you actually myself at exactly 3 p.m.